Hey, what happened? It's something that you're asking yourself after the week 4 results in the NFL. We're here to tell you. Producer, hit that button.
Let's go.
Welcome to the Fantasy Forecast with Grindberg and bigz. I am Grindberg. He is bigz. We're here with the week 4 wrap up, and I didn't mind starting off with a quote from the late great Fred Willard in the epic Christopher Guest film Waiting for Guffman. Hey, what happened? Is his catchphrase. And so we're here to talk about what happened in week 4. A lot of good things, a lot of terrible, odious things. And that's what we're here for.
Yeah, I mean, week 4 is about wrapped up here, and a lot of fireworks over the weekend and some unfortunate ones to start us off here, bigz. And the biggest storyline here is the New York Giants, Jaxson Dart's rookie spark amid Malik Nabers' devastating injury. The Giants pulled off a surprising upset over the Chargers, fueled by rookie quarterback Jaxson Dart. He was poised and efficient in his first career start. He led a 75-yard opening drive, capped off by a rushing touchdown. Great poise there, becoming the first QB since Patrick Mahomes to do so in their first debut here. And his stat line wasn't too super flashy, 13 for 20, 111 yards and a touchdown, but his decision-making and mobility kept the Giants' offense alive, offsetting New York's ongoing red zone struggles. But on the flip side, the Chargers offensive line woes, especially with Joe Alt exiting the game early. We're still not sure what that injury extent is. That's going to be putting some pressure on Justin Herbert, and he was under a relentless attack. Now, bigz, with Malik Nabers out for the season and Jaxson Dart showing promise under center, how do you see New York's passing game shaking out in fantasy terms? Who's your top waiver priority among the Giants wide receiver room? And is Dart himself a viable fantasy option going forward without his Malik Nabers there to set him free?
Well, of course, and we're going to talk a lot about the Giants today. It is that Malik Nabers' injury has wide-ranging implications. I would say that the top waiver wire target right now is Darius Slayton, because Wan'Dale Robinson has his role, and somebody needs to step into and replace what Malik Nabers represented in that passing game. As far as its implications for Jaxson Dart, I'll talk about those a little bit when we get to our priority waiver ads. But I think that I explained in the Starts and Sits show when I was so excited about Jaxson Dart getting this shot, he has that mobility cheat code. We saw it in his rushing ability. We saw it in the design plays that they had. We saw it in his escapability from the pocket, turning a potential bad play into a positive gain. And then we saw him when he took a quarterback draw into the end zone. So he's going to provide that touchdown floor with his rushing ability. We saw him finish as QB8 so far, pending the Monday games. Finished as QB8 simply because he was able to rush for that touchdown, because he only threw one. So what happens in the games where he's able to throw 3? What happens in the games where he's able to throw 2 and rush for 2? His floor right now is about 18 points per game as far as we can analyze. And I don't think that changes with Malik Nabers out. Malik Nabers left the game. Jaxson Dart still did okay. So yeah, he's absolutely a viable fantasy quarterback going forward.
Yeah, and I mean, as far as him with his rushing ability now, I mean, it's only going to add to it. They need to do something, and their best playmakers are Jaxson Dart and Cam Scatterbo, in my opinion, right now. And they're going to be more run-centric. I mean, their defense is clearly keeping them in games. They got that great pass rush, so I'm looking at, the Giants to still be competitive even without Malik Nabers, as competitive as they can be. I mean, they're going to be tight in games. They got a really good defense. So, yeah, I like what you said there, Biggs, and I think you're really right on there with the Jaxson Dart take. And we're going to be talking about, like you mentioned, a couple more of these Giants here in our waiver wire pickup area here. But another storyline we got to hit up here is the running back one overall pace that James Cook is, setting. He's leaving doubters in the dust, and I have to admit, I'm one of those that underestimated James Cook this offseason, and now I'm eating some serious crow. Cook is on an absolute tear through his first 4 weeks, rushing for a touchdown in 8 straight games, setting a new Bills franchise record and piling up yards like a true workhorse with 3 straight 100-yard rushing games and consistent touchdown production. Cook isn't just playing well, he's running at an RB1 overall pace, and if he keeps this up, the sky's the limit here. He's the second in the NFL in rushing yards, only behind Jonathan Taylor, and that was before the end of last game. So I have to double check that, but I think he surpassed him now. He's cooking up a storm here, if you know what I mean. So Biggs, if James Cook keeps up this production and scoring streak, do you think he's locked in as the RB1 overall, or is there any reason to believe this pace might slow down? How are you ranking him moving forward?
Well, it's hard to say that somebody's going to finish as the number one running back when there's at least 12 weeks left in the season, 12 games rather. 13 games are left in the Bills season, roughly 10 in the fantasy season. To go out on a limb and say, yes, he's going to finish as the RB1 based on his pace in the first 4 weeks, I think that would be a mistake. Is he going to, finish as a top 10 running back? Absolutely. And this is something that some of us didn't see coming. I was high on James Cook coming into the year simply because of the quality of the Bills' offense. When I say that I didn't see it coming, I thought coming out of college, he was going to be more confined to an RB2 role, pass catching, third down back, that kind of thing, simply because of his size. I didn't think he could handle the workload. And that still remains to be seen. He's only 190 pounds, or listed as 190 pounds. And backs like that don't tend to carry a workload of, 20 rushes per game for a 17-game season. We've seen it from Jahmyr Gibbs a little bit. We've seen it from Devon Achane a little bit. But Achane's been banged up. There aren't a lot of guys who are that small that can sustain it. So to say that he's going to finish this way, I don't think I would do that. Is he having a great era? Yeah, sure.
Yeah, it's a tough one. I thought that touchdown regression would come in a negative way here for him. 19 touchdowns last year, and I just didn't see the pace keeping up. But they didn't add much to Josh Allen's arsenal, and it looks like it's a running show between the two guys. So love what I see there. James Cook has been a value because of guys like me who steamed him down, and now people that drafted him in that sweet spot are reaping the benefits if he can stay healthy for the rest of the year. Now let's move on to storyline number 3, Biggs, and that is Ashton Jeanty. He's been officially unleashed. That fantasy breakout was amongst the Raiders chaos, and obviously we had a heartfelt talk before the show here about your Raiders, but after weeks of fantasy managers screaming more Ashton Jeanty touches, the Raiders finally turned up the volume, and the rookie responded, and he responded loudly. Jeanty torched the Bears defense for 138 rushing yards, 3 total touchdowns, giving us the breakout game we all been waiting for. He showed his full package: explosiveness on the ground, soft hands, and in the passing game, and the ability to flip momentum even when the offense around him struggled. Geno Smith tossed 3 interceptions, and the Raiders looked out of sync, but Jeanty's big playability, he kept them alive. Despite Jeanty's monster performance, they still managed to fumble away the win and the Lone Raider turnover aside. But I'm looking at Jeanty as now the featured power back here. That is, he was going to be featured regardless, but this is his time now. He has some tough matchups. So Biggs, after the breakout like that, the 21 touches, 3 touchdowns, and a clear featured role, do you think Ashton Jeanty is set it and forget it now, starter moving forward? Do you worry that this might be a blip of because he played that soft Bears defense?
Well, I think that the Bears defense had something to do with it. Let's not get it twisted. This was a performance that we expected, but there were some outliers here. Him getting two receiving touchdowns on 2 targets is not something that's likely to happen. It just happened, right? There is a possibility that Chip Kelly figured out a way to scheme him up, but when you go back and you look, New England, Los Angeles Chargers, and Washington Commanders, they all have fairly good defenses against the run. Chicago doesn't. Next week, they get Indy, who tends to shut down the run. They get 2 games, Tennessee and Kansas City. They give up a lot in the running game. Then they get a bye week. And then to the next 6 games, he's got Jacksonville, Denver, Cleveland, the Chargers again, and Denver again, with Dallas somewhere in the middle. Those are all terrible matchups. The Raiders have an absolutely atrocious schedule. This isn't the 49ers we're talking about. Ashton Jeanty is going up against formidable run defenses week after week. Now, the biggest problem for him has not been him. It's been the Raiders offensive line, who going into this week were 32nd in the NFL in yards before contact among their running backs. That's an offensive line stat. And let me tell you, 32nd means last. So are we going to see a game like this from Jeanty again? Probably not. He had a touchdown on the ground, excuse me, and 2 in the receiving game. That's not likely to happen, and that's what propped up this performance. He didn't get any more touches than he has been getting. He had 21 targets and touches in week 1. He had 23 targets and touches in this game. So this was a winnable game for the Raiders. They won in week 1. Those kind of dictated the script. And as far as the Raiders offensive line and the game script in Raiders winnable games can carry Jeanty, that's what's going to happen. He is a set and forget running back simply because of this performance, because it can happen. This is his ceiling game. We've seen his floor games. They weren't great, but he's going to finish somewhere in the middle. So you have a 12-point game, you have a 33-point game, somewhere in the range of 15 to 18 points is what we should be able to expect as the season goes on. He's 4 games into his rookie year, and he looked just fine yesterday or 2 days ago.
Yeah. Okay. I agree with that. And yeah, I mean, you got to temper your expectations, but this is what we were looking for. And it's a great sign of things to potentially come in the next couple of years here for Ashton Jeanty. Now let's move on to Nacua Matata. Puka's #1 overall wide receiver pace is no fluke. And it's still a thought that Nacua was a fluke. Week 4 should have ended that debate. The Rams wide out went nuclear, racking up 13 catches on 15 targets. Gets a career high 170 yards and a game-tying touchdown against the Colts. The performance not only helped the Rams steal the win on the road, but also cemented as Nacua as, the undisputed wide receiver 1 right now, with question marks surrounding Jamar Chase, Justin Jefferson. Now Malik Nabers is done for the year. There's only other one person kind of in the hat right now, and that's Amon-Ra St. Brown to challenge Puka Nacua. I mean, Jason had a down game as well, so he could be the dark horse in this race now too. But #1 overall pace. 30 targets in 2 games, and he's just going to be hyper targeted. The Ram schedule looks like it's going to be good for his output as well. The track, he's on track to shatter a single season record pace here for receptions. Biggs, he's doing it with flair in redraft or in dynasty formats. Is there anyone you would move him for right now? And if so, why?
Absolutely not. We've seen what happens with Puka Nacua volume, and in 2024, he was hurt to start the year, and once he got to week 10, his usage ramped up to 14, 9, 13, 8, 14, 8, 9, 14 targets, and he was finishing in the top 10 in most of those weeks. With the volume from Puka Nacua comes wide receiver 1 capability. I wouldn't trade him. I would just sit on him. He does have an extensive injury history going back to college, so that's a fear, but you can't really bank on that. So you just stick him in your wide receiver 1 slot, and you just watch the results come back in whenever he's averaging 12, 13 targets per game. That kind of usage from his rookie season when he had 160 targets. That's what we were looking for last year. Didn't happen because he got hurt, but that's what we get with Puka. You're not seeing it from Jamar Chase right now with his quarterback situation. You're not seeing it with Justin Jefferson. So you roll with Puka until the wheels come off.
Yeah, I mean, we look back a couple years ago when Matthew Stafford had Cooper Kupp as his number one wide receiver, and he finished number one overall and made a deep run for that Super Bowl victory. So we know that's not out of the range of outcomes here for Puka as well. So looking for a nice strong finish here, and they've got some weapons to take off some of that coverage too. And Devontae Adams, who's having another big year as well. So another clouded issue here, and Lamar Jackson. He had an injury here, his hamstring, but also, the Ravens, after a really rocky start here, sitting at 1-3 in 2025, things aren't looking any easier for Lamar. He was sidelined, for a hamstring injury suffered in their loss to the Chiefs. Jackson exited midway through the third quarter and didn't return, leaving, Cooper Rush steer the offense in garbage time. Coach Jim Harbaugh remained tight-lipped. I haven't seen much of an update yet, but if he does miss time, that could be a really big shakeup here for not just the Ravens, but in fantasy football. A lot of people have high hopes for Lamar Jackson continuing his QB1 overall streak here. Given in his hamstring injury, bigz, his current injury-plagued roster, how are you handling him and his future fantasy outlook this season? He's obviously a must-start every week when active, but can you be caution period here for fantasy owners, or is it just set it and forget it? And how would you rank Cooper Rush as a streaming QB option if Jackson does miss time?
I think Cooper Rush is a priority add at this point. If we look back at what he did last year when Dak Prescott was hurt, he had a couple of top 10 finishes, a quarterback 11 finish, a quarterback 15 finish. So he's the kind of guy that in a limited situation, he can bring 15 points if you absolutely need it. And if Lamar can't go, then you got to go with Cooper Rush if you don't have any other options. So if you are looking at a very thin quarterback roster, he is definitely somebody that you should be able to acquire on the waiver wire. There's not going to be much demand for Cooper Rush, so you can kind of take advantage of that. I am worried about Lamar. I know about hamstring issues. Hamstring issues don't go away. Depending on the grade of the tear, this could be a lingering thing for him. And if it was enough to take him out of a game, it might have just been that they figured we're getting blown out. We may as well just pull him and wrap him up in bubble wrap. But if it is a lingering issue, it's going to be hard for a mobile quarterback to play that way. Now, the question gets begged, if he is dealing with a hamstring issue and he cannot run, is his arm enough for him to kind of stay in the pocket and not do too much? I think the answer is yes. So I don't have expectations for Lamar to have a very down year if he's injured and plays. But if he is injured and it's a lingering thing that keeps him out of games, it might become a big problem.
Yeah, I agree. And hopefully it's not something too serious, but we're going to have to really keep our ear to the ground and follow the injury reports and be savvy on this, evolving story now. Got a lot of evolving stories here happening every day on the Fantasy Sports Advice Network. We've got a ton of live shows kicking off each week, starting on Monday night with Last Call to recap the week. We've got Tuesday, the weekly kickoff. On Wednesday, Queen's Ransom, PAT with us two here on Thursday nights. Breakfast with bigz on Sunday morning, sometimes Saturdays, and we've got Spilled Coffee right after bigz goes live as well. So, and then Friday night, can't forget From the Forum with Tyler and Joe. So yeah, I got a cracked up lineup here, and we are ready to rock for you, giving you start and sit advice all the way through every day of the week. So let's roll it on, dude. Our studs and duds calls here, bigz.
I do want to apologize to our fans in the UK and Scotland because I just accidentally flipped you guys off. So I didn't mean to do that. Sorry.
All good, my man. All right, bud. Let's go over our studs and duds calls
No,
for the
because
week.
we're doing this on Monday, and two of my calls are playing Monday, so we can't. I'll say that I whiffed on Etienne. I didn't see him having the game that he did, but I nailed Dart, top 10 finish. So other than that, I can't really talk about Brees Hall yet, and I can't believe you didn't bring up Jamar Chase breaking his leg last night. Isn't that something important that the viewers should know about?
Oh, big. So yeah, he's got a couple on the line here, and I'm excited to see how that turns out. I'm hoping that his sit chase was a good call because I'm
How'd
up
you
against
do?
him in a couple leagues. So, all right. So my stud calls were sit Chuba Hubbard, and he had a down game. He didn't score even 10 fantasy points. I said to start Travion Henderson, who had a good game. He ended up finding the pay dirt, getting his first touchdown, and adding a couple of receiving yards as well. So not quite the emergence I was hoping to see, but definitely a start and a flex worthy guy. So that was a hit. Told everybody to start Matthew Golden, who had his best game as a pro. Didn't get that touchdown because obviously all went to Romeo Dobbs, 5 for 58. So I'm going to say that's a wash. And I'm going to say, Terry McLaurin was an NA because he didn't end up playing, but would have been a strong candidate for sitting as well. So
And shout out to Schultze, who nailed the Penix and Jones calls and also nailed the start Love and start Jeanty calls. So good
there it
job,
is.
Schultze.
No, I mean, Penix had a decent game. Coming through with the touchdown and 2 touchdowns. Did he not? Let me see here. Penix, 2 touchdowns, 300 yards. I'm going to give that a wash, but let's go Love.
Ending Monday because
Yeah.
we still have Justin Fields. We still have Jake Browning. Shout out NorCal. We still have Tua Tagovailoa, and we still have Bo Nix. So there are 4 opportunities for Michael Penix to drop out of the top 12.
Mm-hmm. All right, folks. Let's get into our waiver wire ads for the week. Headed into week 5 here. We got, not a whole lot of movement, but there's some injuries that definitely are going to affect who we're picking in these positions. So, Biggs, who do you got to start us off at the quarterback and / tight end positions here as your pickups?
QBTE, I have, of course, Jaxson Dart. But I know that our viewers already had him because I've been thumping the drum since February, so they already had him as a backup quarterback. He's he's available in 78% of ESPN leagues, which means that 22% of people who are on ESPN leagues follow us. 19.84 points, QB8 before Monday Night Football. He outscored Jalen Hurts, outscored Baker Mayfield, outscored Caleb Williams, outscored Daniel Jones, and outscored Justin Herbert. All of those guys had been in the top 12 among quarterbacks, and Jaxson Dart had a better debut as a rookie in his first game throwing the football in the NFL, a better week than those guys. So if he's available and you didn't pick him up because you didn't watch our Thursday show, you better go get him now.
Yeah, go get Jaxson Dart, folks. He's got the legs to do it, and they're going to really rely on the run game. And I like that 1-2 punch with him and Scatabo in the backfield. I think they could do some damage, and continue this up.
Not to mention your waiver wire priority ad.
Yeah, so at the tight end position, I think this is an important one for those that have been following our show. Biggs has been on Theo for a while. Theodore, Ted, Theo Johnson. I'm talking about, with Malik Nabers feared, he's done. He has torn ACL. He's done for the year, and someone had to step up in the Giants passing attack in week 4, and tight end Theo Johnson answered. He found the end zone for the first time, and he found some chemistry with Jaxson Dart. It's a small sample size, but it came in a crucial moment in the Giants' 21-18 win over the Chargers, and it may just signal the start of something bigger, and here's why. After Nabers left the game, he saw a 30% target share. He tied with Wan'Dale Robinson for the team lead. That's not a fluke, folks. Johnson had already been seen the field consistently, over 80% of the snaps, 94 routes run through 4 weeks, but now the targets are finally catching up with the usage, and Dart under center The offense has shown more RPO and seam shot concepts, the kind of looks that feed athletic tight ends like Johnson in a year where the tight end options are thin. This could be a quiet breakout. So like I mentioned, a 30% target share, 90 routes run throughout the season, scored his first career touchdown in week 4, 9 targets on this year, which is looking to come up. And he got 5 of them this week against, the Chargers. So I'm looking at Theo's time is now. And why wait another week? You'll be fighting the waiver wire crowd then if you're not doing it now. So let's get some bids in here on Theo Johnson.
And he did share the target lead with Wandale, but Wandale plays very close to the line of scrimmage, and Theo Johnson's yards per target was higher by at least a yard than Wandale Robinson. The other one to not forget is Darius Slayton. Go ahead and grab him too. They need to figure out what's going on with this passing game for Jaxson Dart. So all of the pass catchers at this point are pretty available as waiver ads. I would even throw in Jalen Hyatt.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And that was a part of your bold prediction action here. So maybe he does see the field at that stage. This could be that golden opportunity for him to come in. He's got that deep threat ability. He can open up the field a little bit. He's got some contested catch, talent as well there. So bigz, I could see that coming through finally for him. And that's a savvy call here. Now let's get into the wide receivers position, bigz, and who do you got as an ad for our viewers here today?
So I do have a waiver ad that's a priority that is it's a measured priority. Let's put it that way. We do have a wide receiver one in Carolina, and that's Tataroa McMillan. Hunter Renfrow is also there, but Jalen Coker is coming back from injury. He's owned in over 90%, or he's available in over 90% of ESPN leagues, which means that he's just sitting there. He's not going to play next week. So nobody's really going to be going after him at this point. So he's definitely an add and stash, and you can probably even add him on your injured reserve list. So essentially what I'm telling you is a strategy. Go add Jalen Coker, join the Cokehead party, and then stash him once waivers clear, stash him on your IR spot, and go pick up a Giants receiver just in case when the waivers are cleared and you can just freely add people. But make that Coker the priority. He won't play in week 5 again, but moving on down the season, he might pop for you. So go get him now.
There it is. Yeah, with not much around on the wide receiver front as far as waiver ads. You mentioned Darius Slayton earlier on the show, who could be a guy, but we've seen him in years past kind of just be a boom or bust kind of guy to have in your lineup, and to be able to peg a game where he is able to, be that boom is going to be a tough one to peg. So I would say, go and get a guy like a Jalen Coker who, plays a slot role. Those targets are going to be there if he can get into the lineup. And he definitely looked and showed that with, the way that the Panthers played off their offseason. They were expecting Coker to be a big part of their team, and they're going to be really excited to have him back, in my opinion, when that time comes. So yeah, I'll definitely have a stash spot. If you got an IR spot, that's a great thing to do, is pick up Jalen Coker and slide him right in there. Now, with Terry McLaurin nursing a quad injury, that could sideline him for multiple weeks. He's still looking for a specialist, so he did miss this week. The Commanders needed some help and someone to step up, and Luke McCaffrey answered that call in week 4. The second-year wideout got the start in McLaurin's absence and immediately made his presence felt with a 5-yard touchdown grab in the first half. Now 2 straight weeks with a score for McCaffrey, who's quickly carving out a role in both the offense and special teams outside of the score. And McCaffrey's receiving line was just modest, 2 for 21, but the upside is clear, especially with McLaurin's status murky and trending toward a multi-week absence. He added a massive 99-yard kickoff return yards this year too, so he averages 33 per attempt. So, he's got a spot there. His spot is secure, and guys like Jalen Lane is struggling, and Noah Brown is still sidelined. Jaden Daniels potentially returning to the offense to give it a boost. McCaffrey could be walking into some consistent flex worthy role, especially in leagues that count those return yards, especially those, you probably have him on your radar already. He could be more than just a fill-in. He's showing playmaking potential. He's got that McCaffrey pedigree. We talked about this last year on our show, Biggs, because, you and I had him pegged, headed into his rookie season as a guy that we were pretty excited about, where his landing spot was, his pedigree, and the potential there to carve himself out a role. Maybe this is his time. McLaurin possibly out long-term here. He's got the last name, the bloodlines, and now the opportunity. So don't wait for him. Let's get him on our bench and see if he could start scoring there, and then maybe get him in our lineups eventually.
Yeah, we started talking about him pre-combine 2024 simply because of his ability in college at Rice and then his bloodlines. And his landing spot was pretty good too. As we followed the offseason in 2024, the Commanders didn't retain De'Ami Brown or Olamide Zaccheaus, which meant that there was going to be an increased role for McCaffrey, which he didn't have. So in our dynasty leagues, we were saying draft Luke McCaffrey and then stick him on your taxi squad and wait, because at some point, since he was a quarterback converted to wide receiver, it was going to take him a little bit of time in the NFL to get his feet wet, sort of Julian Edelman style. He was also a converted quarterback into wide receiver, and after about 3 or 4 years, absolutely took off and became Julian Edelman, New England Patriots Hall of Famer. So there could be a similar career arc for Luke McCaffrey. It could just be a matter of opportunity, and that opportunity is coming for him. So he's absolutely a great candidate for a stash and grab, or a grab and stash this week.
Yeah. And you never know. Just let it ride out. And, if McLaurin does come back, sooner rather than later, then it's an easy dump off. So, get him on your radar. And, as slim as the wide receiver group has been, this was a down week for that position. Now let's move on to a position that had a little more fruitfulness to it, Biggs? A couple running backs that, can hit the wire depending on your league and, your roster sizes. We talked a little bit about Woody Marks last week on our show, and he's come up again, but let's get into your guy. We'll spotlight the running backs this week because I think that is an important position to fill. So let's hit it up.
All right, welcome to bigz' Waiver Wire Spotlight, brought to you by Chris's Smoked Pickles. Go to Facebook, find Chris's Smoked Pickles, and order. You can message him on Messenger and then tell him bigz sent you, and he'll send you something cool. My waiver wire priority ad this week is Brashard Smith, Kansas City Chiefs running back. I hesitate to say that because the Kansas City Chiefs running back room is all kinds of chaos. Is it Pacheco? Is it Hunt? We don't know. But one thing that hit my radar this week watching the Chiefs game was Brashard Smith's increased usage. Now, as they start working him into the game plan, he's going to get more carries. He had more carries this week, and he had 4 targets. More than that, he's available in 99% of ESPN leagues. So people don't see him coming. He very easily could have a couple games where he'll have 5 or 6 carries, break off a 50-yard run, maybe get a swing pass and take it for 60 yards to the house. And then all of a sudden the Chiefs are going, we got this explosive kid. They know he's explosive already, but we should be playing him over these other 2 guys because he's just flat out better. Now, they don't want to pound him into the line over and over again. They're going to go ahead and let the veteran Kareem Hunt get hurt first. They're going to let the veteran Isaiah Pacheco get hurt first. They're not going to be dismissive about Brashard Smith's size, but they're going to create explosiveness for him, and it could pay off for you if you go ahead and pick him up this week.
Yeah, I mean, we've been talking about Brashard Smith on our network for a while here, Biggs, you and I, Chev included. He brought him into the mix a bit here too. But I mean, Brashard Smith, landing spot was huge there. His size, the way he works, like you mentioned, Jerick McKinnon earlier there, that's kind of like their mini clone of him and potentially could work into that role. And we know how important that role is.
Yeah, maybe he was the
Edge for
missing
fantasy
piece.
squads and really.
Maybe he was the missing piece in a down Kansas City team, and now he is bringing them back.
Yeah, exactly. That type of role is important there, and when they score those points, we're in fantasy playoffs for teams that I remember 2 years ago, Jerick McKinnon was a lot of fantasy championship squads if you were able to pick him up. So this could be that waiver wire ad now that could turn into something big. We see what's happening in Kansas City. 4 touchdowns Patrick Mahomes threw on Sunday here, and getting Xavier Worthy back. They used him in the running game as well. I think he got 38 yards of rushing, and with Rashee Rice coming back, this could mean a lot of upside here for the Kansas City Chiefs, evolving their game into less of a run focused. And what that means is optimistic opportunities here for Brashard Smith. So I really like that. Get him on your radar. And if you have room on your bench, please get him up there. And let's get into my spotlight running back for week 5 waiver wire. All right. Well, Woody Marks officially announced his arrival in week 4, and some of us didn't see it coming for the most part if you weren't paying attention. But Nick Chubb getting the start, rookie out-snapped him, out-touched him, and flat out outplayed the veteran. And we saw that ramp up after week 1, week 2, week 3. And, we mentioned it on our show last week to have him on your radar as someone that kind of keep your eye on. And now his eyes are on the Texans backfield, and he was more involved in both phases of the game. He looked explosive doing it. And I did not think he was going to be a guy that was going to come in and be able to run the ball so effectively with his size. But, the Texans believe in the guy, and they're using him in that way as well. His building his usage over the last few weeks, but week 4 was his true breakout party. He totaled 17 carries, 69 yards, and a touchdown. 4 receptions for 50 yards and another score. He wasn't just sprinkled in. He was the game engine of the offense down the stretch, closing out the game on both of his touchdowns in the fourth quarter. And even if this turns into a 50-50 split with Chubb moving forward, Mark's pass catching role and red zone juice give him a fantasy edge, especially in PPR format. So this could be the player you've been waiting for if you are in need of a running back. I see him having RB2 upside for the rest of the year, and with some potential spike weeks here if the Texans can get their game going a little bit better moving forward. So he went from a trendy sleeper to a must-add breakout on your roster in a span of 4 quarters. He's taken the real step forward, claiming that job. So don't be late to the party. Grab Marks before he shuts the door and takes you for a good offer here. So let's go, bigz. Let's get some Woody Marks. What are your thoughts on Marks, and do you think this is sustainable for him?
I don't know, but I'm willing to pick him up and wait and see. Nick Chubb, we know what we got. We got an aged veteran with a huge career injury history. Go with the young guy. The problem is the Houston Texans. They ran Damian Pierce into the ground in his rookie season. They haven't been like that since then. There's been a rotation. Joe Mixon he's still breathing. So yeah, I love the potential and the upside to Woody Marks, and I love the ceiling there, and I'm willing to take a chance on it. I'm not going to say that he's going to have a great season, but I'm willing to take that shot.
Yeah, especially in week 5 here where things are thinning out. Last year, I think it was an anomaly for how healthy the running back position fared throughout the whole year. We're starting to see that injury bug creep up a little bit here, and guys like Woody Marks, even though he wasn't, a beneficiary of an injury, he pretty much was when you think about the Joe Mixon situation. And it doesn't take much for a running back to get a shot and come in and be productive. So these are the stabs you need to be taking in your lineups, like the Brashard Smiths, the Woody Marks before they start hitting. And Woody Marks is hit. So hopefully, you can get some value out of him on your wire if you got some fab left.
Yes.
Absolutely. bigz. What do we got going on for the rest of the week? Tell our viewers what we have cooking up here on the FSAN.
We will be back with you on Thursday after the Thursday night football game with points after Thursday. Then on Friday, the Dynasty Pulse drops. And then Saturday or Friday, I don't know what you do, is going to be our Starts and Sits show, Fantasy Forecast with Grindberg and Biggs and Schultze. And then Sunday morning, Breakfast with Biggs, 8:30 a.m. Best Coast time, 11:30 a.m. Least Coast time. Not Saturday. That was a mistake. See, you guys, I woke up panicked on Saturday morning at like 8:27 and went, oh my God, my show. Ran into the office, fired it up, and then went, oh no, it's Saturday. And then I had to shut it down. And it was quite funny, wasn't it, Mike? But I guess my brain was just making up for the shows that I missed, right?
Right, man. You gave us a double whammy. I was just more than intrigued. I was like, oh, Biggs is doing a spot. I thought maybe you had some stuff planned Sunday morning, and you're like, I got to get the Biggs on and get the breakfast going, even if it's a weekend day. And maybe you were tuning up the college crowd as well.
No.
So
no, I wasn't. But I do want to recap. If you go back and watch the last 2 episodes of Breakfast with Biggs, I made the best eggnog you could ever want in the first episode. And then I made a pretty good Irish cocktail on this last Sunday using Shanky's Whip, which is an Irish whiskey product. That's pretty good, especially with coffee. And so go back and watch those 2 episodes, get those recipes, and then I'll have a third one for you this week.
Love it. All right, buddy. All right, folks. Week 5 is about to get going. Get your waiver bids in there. Get the guys you need on your lineup to continue building that championship roster, because it is not a sprint. It's a marathon here, folks. The season is long, and if you have Malik Nabers in your lineup and you lost him this week, don't give up. There's still plenty of football left. There is a chance you could still make it in. I know it's not an easy pill to swallow, losing your first round guy, but it's important to stay with it. Stay tuned into us. We'll give you all the edges you can get to keep that team above water. And you never know what could happen if you make the playoffs, Biggs?
I think marathon is a bit of an overstatement. I think it's the baseball season is a marathon. I think the football season is more of a 10K.
A 10K. Well, either way, it's not a sprint, if you will. It may seem like that as you're going through the fantasy season and it goes by so quickly, but hopefully we're here all the way through, every step of the way, giving you guys sound advice for your rosters, right, Biggs?
It's more like the 10,000 meter race in the Olympics. It takes a while, but eventually it's over. The marathon's still going.
Marathon, yeah, it's still they're still wrapping around, right? The old reach around. All right, Biggs, let's have a good week. Let's keep our advice sound, and folks, we hope you win, everybody.
Go to fantasyfootballadvice.com, watch all our shows, buy all our merch, and we hope you win.
Hit the subscribe button, like, and be warned. Peace out, everybody.
We are here. FantasySportsAdvice.com, offering the best fantasy sports social media platform. Why join endless Discord communities or the trolls of Reddit? Fantasy Sports Advice is a community designed to help you win with 24/7 support. Go to FantasySportsAdvice.com and become a pro member for unlimited access. Again, go to FantasySportsAdvice.com today.